Hi there, welcome to theclearskinessentials.com. I'm Natasha St. Michael, and here at the Clear Skin Essentials, we're always talking about how to clear up breakouts and adult acne naturally through diet and skincare. And in last week's video, I talked about skin purging versus breakouts and how to know the difference, how to know that like when you first start using a new skincare product and suddenly you get all these breakouts, how do you know if it's just like a temporary skin purge or you're having like a bad reaction and the product is giving you breakouts. And from that video, I received a few emails from some of you where you guys shared your own experience of either having like a skin purge or like a really bad reaction to a new skincare product. And it was really interesting reading your stories and your experiences, because just how like you described how you knew it was a bad reaction and what was happening to your skin and all of that. And I thought it'd be really good for me to share my own story of having bad reactions to skin products, because over the years I've had many reactions and I've learned to really get to know my skin. And I just found when I was reading your experiences of having like bad reactions and how you were describing your skin and what was going on and how you just knew it, I found it kind of just opened up like my eyes to different ways people can have different reactions, you know. And I find that the more that we hear other people's stories and their experiences, the more we know like what to look out for. That even though I might not have the same kind of reaction as another person does, knowing what could potentially happen or what happens to other people, just it allows me to be more aware of the possibilities and just what to look at within my own skin when I'm starting new skincare products, to know, is this product working for me or not? So I want to share with you my own experience, what kind of skin reactions I had, how did I notice it, where do I get it, all of that. I first want to say, I find it's very important, and that has helped me the most, is really to know your skin. Get to know your skin, especially get to know your skin when your skin is at its normal phase, okay? Not when it's like at like a good skin day, not when it's like breaking out and terrible, but get to know your skin when it's at its average, okay? Where it's really like, this is your normal skin, okay? I can give you an example with myself, what my normal skin is. My normal skin is the part of my face that's the clearest has always been my forehead, my cheeks. I don't really have any skin texture on the forehead and cheeks. It's pretty smooth. I don't get breakouts there, nothing. It's a good part of my face, okay? Around my eyes, I have a lot of wrinkles, okay? I got a lot of crow's feet. I got texture and crepey skin over here. I have darkness around here from allergies, environmental allergies. My nose, I would say, has some enlarged pores, has some blackheads, but around here, not so much, okay? It's pretty smooth, pretty clear around here. My chin has acne scars, my neck has some acne scars, my jawline has acne scars, and the temples have acne scars. I would say the area here on my forehead or in between my eyebrows, I don't really have deep 11s, you know, those deep lines. Don't really have it. When I'm stressed out, I do. When I'm dehydrated, I do. And sometimes when a skincare product irritates my skin, I will get those lines. But in general, not so bad. I'll also say too, is that my skin is pretty smooth here as it is on my forehead. So I don't have like enlarged pores here, like nothing. Pretty much my forehead is nice and smooth and clear. My cheeks are clear. And I would say around my nose, I get some redness here, as well as my chin. My chin is always pink. So that's my normal. You know, there's some good stuff, there's some not so great stuff, but that's my average. And some skin days everything looks even better. Some days it looks much worse. Now, knowing what my skin is like when it's normal and it's average, then when I am starting to use new skincare products, I can watch my face in a certain way to know when I'm starting to have a reaction. And it becomes very obvious to me, because I just know like what part of my face shouldn't be having like texture, shouldn't be having bumps, shouldn't be having breakouts. And when I start seeing that, then I know something is up. So I would say on my face, the one part of my face that has sort of like the most reaction to skincare products is actually my forehead. So I was just saying before that my forehead is like the smoothest part of my face and the clearest part of my face. But as soon as I have a reaction to a new skincare product, that's where I see it. So in general, whenever I start a new skincare product, I'm always watching my forehead. I'm always like looking at sort of like looking at the light bouncing off my forehead to see if there's any texture, any bumps, anything. Because I have a history of getting tiny bumps, like raised bumps, all over my forehead, specifically from coconut oil. Okay, for me, coconut oil and pure coconut oil, like coconut oil you get from the health food store or the grocery store, that to me is probably one of the most detrimental ingredients for my skin, okay? And I used to oil cleanse with coconut oil. And at first I didn't realize when I was getting all these bumps all over my forehead, I didn't realize it was the coconut oil causing it. I thought because at that time that I started oil cleansing was right after I gave birth to my first daughter, and I thought it was my hormones causing it. And it went on for like months. I think a whole year I walked around with like these bumps all over my forehead. And it was only until I ran out of the coconut oil and started oil cleansing with olive oil, and the bumps cleared up in about 3 days. And I was shocked, and I was like, oh my goodness, my skin is so smooth and beautiful. And I realized it'd been that coconut oil causing it the whole time. And so since then, I've been very aware that I can get that kind of reaction. And I've seen that it's not only been coconut oil that causes me to have those bumps, but sometimes when I'm just having a reaction to a product, I will see little bumps here and there. And so I just know something is going on. Now, I do want to say though that it's not everything that contains coconut oil that gives me a problem. It's pure coconut oil, like if I just use only coconut oil, like oil cleansing. But if I use a product that contains coconut oil, 8 out of 10 times I don't have any reaction to it, and it works fine for my skin. So I do read the ingredients on most skincare products I'm using, but it won't stop me from using a product if it contains coconut oil, because most of the time I don't get any bumps and the product works fine. Okay, so like you guys know, I use Living Libations, their best skin ever, to wash my face twice a day. I've been using this oil cleanser for like over 5 years, and it does not give me any kind of like bumps, nothing on my skin. So I continue using it even though it's got the coconut oil in it. Another example is RMS Beauty. This is their Uncover Up, and this has got coconut oil as a base. And I've been using this product for, I'd say, almost 10 years. And again, like, it's never given me breakouts or any kind of issues. So I continue using it. I know a lot of people though that cannot use anything with coconut oil in it, and they read the ingredients and they just stay away from it. But I know my skin, that I know that like pure coconut oil, no good. Most products that have coconut oil usually don't give me a reaction, but I'll watch it. For the first week I'm using a new product that contains coconut oil, I will definitely be keeping an eye on my skin, especially my forehead, because that's where I have the problem. You know, I find it very interesting that I oil cleanse with coconut oil in the past, right? And I got those bumps on my forehead, but I oil cleanse my whole face, and the only area I would get the bumps was on my forehead. So it's interesting to me that this is the area where I show problems. I've also seen too that when I've used soaps with coconut oil in it, I get bumps on my body. I'll get it on my arms, I'll get it on my legs, and also my chest. So I have to be very, very careful also with soaps. Do all soaps that contain coconut oil in them cause me problems? No, but I would say almost majority of them do. So I am very careful with it. I keep an eye on it. And a lot of times if I have a choice between like a natural soap that has coconut oil in it or not, because so many of them cause an issue for me, I usually kind of stay away from it. But I do live in Bali, where coconut oil is actually used in most of the natural handmade soaps, that sometimes I don't have a choice and I just have to kind of see what happens. I'll also give another example too of, this is a face cream from Drunk Elephant. This is the Protini Polypeptide Cream. I love this cream, but it's got coconut sort of byproducts in it. And if I use this twice a day, I get the bumps on my forehead. If I use this once a day, no problem. And I would say in most cases, if I used a product twice a day and suddenly it was giving me like bumps all over my forehead, I'd probably stop it completely. But I really like what this product does for my skin. It makes my skin a lot firmer and almost kind of like bouncy. Like it really helps with just kind of smoothing out wrinkles on my face, that if I can get away with using this just during the day and I don't get those bumps on my face, then I use it. You know, I kind of weigh things out. It's kind of like, if it doesn't give me a reaction and I can use it, then why not? But if it's giving me a reaction, then I definitely stop. And what I've learned over the years is that even though there might be certain ingredients that really mess up my skin, a lot of times if it's formulated in a certain way, it might not give me the reaction I'm expecting. And so personally, I take the risk, but I know a lot of people that would not take that risk. Another reaction that I get is in between my eyebrows, which again, it's on my forehead. And the reaction I get, if a product is too irritating, is one thing that I start getting is sort of like enlarged pores in between my eyebrows. I'll get the 11s line. I will get, my skin will start looking like it's shriveled up and it'll look really textured. And for me, that's an adverse reaction, usually to a product that is just too strong. A lot of times I get that from using products that have a lot of active ingredients in it, and it's just not playing well with my skin. And either if I stop the product completely or I just not use it very frequently, usually it goes away. But that's something that I really keep an eye on, especially if I'm using products that contain like exfoliating acids, just very strong active ingredients. I have to really watch this area of my face, and that usually gives me the first sign that it's just too strong and it's going to irritate my skin. I will also say too is essential oils if I use a product that has too strong essential oils, I will get a big red like blotch right here. It almost looks like fire right in between my eyebrows, and it always comes from products that just have too much essential oils. Again, it's like the same thing with the coconut oil. It's like I can tolerate a lot of products that have essential oils in it, but then there are some products that really mess up my skin. So I'm always kind of watching it, and when it comes down to using essential oils, if I'm using products that contain it or using a few products that contain it at the same time, I'm always watching this part of my face to see how it's reacting. And it always gives me like the first sign if there's like an issue or not. Another product or another ingredient that gives me issues is vitamin C. And it's not so much in cleansers that contain vitamin C that give me issues. It's more like serum products that I get blackheads and enlarged pores in this whole area of my face. And a lot of times skincare companies will say, oh, it's a purging phase, you'll get through it, just keep going. And I've used some vitamin C products for like months on end, and that like enlarged pores and texture does not go away. It just gets worse and worse for me. And as soon as I stop using the product, within 1 week, this area of my face is poreless, it's smooth, it's beautiful. And I'm like, it's the product. So that's something I'm aware of. I continue trying new vitamin C products, hoping to find something that won't give me that sort of reaction, but I've yet to find one that doesn't. And it's just me that goes through this. I know some other people have complained about a similar issue, but it's not very common to get that kind of reaction. But that's something I get. Another ingredient that gives me issues is chemical sunscreens. Okay, so sunscreens that have chemical filters. I do fine with using sunscreens that are made with a mineral active ingredients like mineral filters or physical sunscreens, ones that have like zinc or titanium dioxide. That's fine, but most chemical sunscreens, I get hives. I get hives all over my body from chemical sunscreens, and especially wearing chemical sunscreen in the heat, it's a nightmare. So I have to be really, really careful, because a lot of times chemical filters are not only in in sunscreens, but they can also be in makeup, things like that. So that's something that I watch out for because it gives me hives, it can give me breakouts as well. And then lastly, another interesting thing that I get is I get reactions on my cheeks. So I mentioned in the beginning of the video that like I always watch my forehead, and my forehead is normally very smooth, but as soon as I get a reaction, my forehead gets very textured or irritated or just having problems. And it's the same thing with my cheeks. My cheeks, like I've never had a problem with acne on my cheeks. I've never had texture on my cheeks. My cheeks have always been smooth, clear, and good. But sometimes makeup gives me raised bumps all over my cheeks. Or makeup brushes, interestingly enough. And I'm not sure with the makeup brushes if it's the chemicals. A lot of times makeup brushes are sprayed. Like, so when you buy a makeup brush, you should wash it a couple of times before using it. I'm not sure if it's that or if it's just the texture of a makeup brush that just too rough on my skin that it makes me have raised bumps. But whenever I'm using new makeup, I'm always watching my cheeks because that's usually where the reaction starts showing. And some of you might be wondering, do I get breakouts or pimples from new skincare products that I use when I'm having like a reaction to it? And interestingly enough, no. Like I'll get the texture, the raised bumps, the enlarged pores, redness, things like that. But in recent years, I don't normally get breakouts from a reaction to a skincare product. I get pimples and breakouts from my diet, definitely, from stress, from lack of sleep, things like that. My hormones get pimples and breakouts from that, but not so much skincare products. But I will say, when I had acne, and I would say the first 5 years after I cleared up my skin, I would get a lot of reactions to a lot of skincare products. And back then, the only way I could completely clear up my skin was, I think most of you know my story, is that I stopped using all skincare products, right? Pretty much at one point, I cleaned up my diet, I ate super clean diet, and at the same time, I stopped using all skincare, all makeup, everything. All I did was wash my face with honey twice a day. And during that time, I completely cleared up my skin, and I continued just washing my face with honey for 5 years after clearing out my skin. I didn't like use anything else on my skin. And there were times where I would try oil cleansing or use an oil balm or try moisturizer. And every time I did that, I would get breakouts. And so at that time, I was very, very, very sensitive to oils, and it just didn't work for my skin. And I find that interesting because that was a good 10, 15 years ago. And like nowadays, all I use is pretty much like oils. I wash my face twice a day with oils. I moisturize my skin with oils. I love oil balms and oil cleansers, all that stuff. And it works really well with my skin. But back 10 years ago when I was clearing up my skin, I couldn't touch that stuff. So as I was saying in the beginning of the video, is that you need to know what your normal is. You need to know what your skin is like when it's healthy and it's good and it's balanced, and when what you're using on your skin is working for you. Because it keeps changing. Your skin is not going to be the same it was like 5 years from now or 10 years from now. There's going to be certain ingredients or skincare products that work great for you now that might not work so great for you in 5 years from now. And so you need to keep updating yourself and checking in with yourself to know what's working for you, what's not, so you can monitor your progress and switch things up when you need to if something is no longer working for you, or if you can retry using something that didn't work for you back then but might work for you now. So this is kind of like my story of having like all sorts of different reactions to different products and what happens to my skin when I have a reaction. I really feel, you know, even though it sucks to have like reactions to certain ingredients and products, I do feel quite blessed to know what happens and what to watch out for. So I can really be on top of it with my skin, that as soon as there starts being a problem, I know what it is, I take it out of my skincare routine, and it doesn't blow up into a bigger problem. So yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please like it, please subscribe to my channel. If you want more information on how to clear up breakouts and adult acne, please take my free email course. I will put a link to that below. You just go to my website at theclearSkinEssentials.com. And I'm wishing you a fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.